Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, bringing you all of today's wrestling news, rumors, and whatever else the hell you want to know about professional wrestling. And guys, it's a great Friday, but before we get started, before I get into all of the great Valentine's Day shit that we know we got to go through with wrestling, I want to say happy Valentine's Day to all you lovers out there and non-lovers and whoever the hell else you want. Greetings from the Slow Burn. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoy your holiday that celebrates a man getting his head cut off. And good day. So let's get to the wrestling, because I'm done already talking about Valentine's Day, right? Steak dinner coming up later on. However, I want to say, before I get into the WWE stuff, before I get into the AEW stuff, TNA, any of it, I want to say something about a local organization, all right? And I get into, you guys know I like to cover the local stuff here in the CSRA. Hopefully soon I'll be covering local stuff in St. Louis, Missouri as well. But I want to say, Phoenix Wrestling Experience, the PWE. Last night I did a live from there. I had never been to a PWE show before. I've always kind of wanted to. It just hasn't worked out well. So glad I got to go last night. And guys, let me tell you, what a freaking great show. Awesome local show with a little bit of national flair to it. The main event actually was a WWE ID match. If you know about WWE ID and the Evolve program that's getting ready to show on Tubi coming up in March, it's going to be great. Independent wrestlers getting a chance to showcase their skills on a high level and maybe get noticed by the right people. I mean, they're already noticed. They're WWE ID. But last night we got to see a great one, guys. Local from here in Augusta, Georgia, Sean Legacy, Super Sean Legacy. He went over last night of the Carolina Reaper, Jackson Drake, from North Carolina. Guys, I'm telling you what, both these dudes are going to be on TV. They may be on TV sooner rather than later. I'm telling you, this is what this program is all about. If you get a chance to check out anyone that's WWE ID, guys, do it, okay? Because this is quality professional wrestling. I mean, high level. And again, Phoenix Wrestling Experience, PWE, thank you very much. Cowboy, thank you for the kind words that you said to me as well. It was awesome. Also got a couple slow burn shout outs there. That was kind of neat. I wasn't quite expecting that. So instead of saying I have 4 people watching, we're going to say I have 6. All right. That's the way we're going. We're growing. But PWE was great. And with that said, guys, they have a show coming up next week on Thursday, on February the 20th at SRP Park here in Augusta, where the Green Jackets play. For you guys that listen to me out of town, it's one of the nicest, if not the nicest, minor league baseball stadium in the whole Southeast. I'll put it up against anyone in the country, actually. They do such a great job, and they're hosting their first ever professional wrestling event on Thursday of next week. Hopefully it won't be too cold. Come, get your tickets. Still plenty of tickets available. You get that through PWE. I'll put links of that on the Facebook page as well, on the Facebook machine. So check that out. Huge night of professional wrestling. Not sure the whole card yet. That's going to be coming together. And who knows? You might hear something from the Slow Burn coming up about it. We'll keep pubbing that. Also, a little closer to us here for local wrestling here in the CSRA. The debut show tomorrow night, American Legion Hall near Lake Olmsted in Augusta, Georgia. We will see the debut of Next Level Championship Wrestling. And guys, the card is stacked. We have some of the WOW ladies, the Women of Wrestling ladies coming. We're going to get some showdowns here with some familiar faces, also some new faces. Guys, if you got nothing to do tomorrow night, come to see Next Level Championship Wrestling. I have links posted on the Facebook machine. Check it out. If you have nothing else better to do, or even if you do have something else to do, come on out and check out Next Level Championship Wrestling. Slow Burn's going to be there. Come hang out with me. Matter of fact, anybody that comes and says hello to the Slow Burn tomorrow night, I got a free bracelet for you, right? We'll see if anybody shows. I've given away a couple. That's why we got 6 listeners now, guys. So come check us out. It's the American Legion Hall near Lake Olmsted, the old Green Jackets Stadium right there next to it. In Augusta, Georgia. I'll put the links up. Come out, check it out. Josh and the guys are going to do a fantastic job. It's going to be a great show and just the start of something that's going to grow and get very, very big as far as professional wrestling here. So 2 great opportunities to check out some awesome professional wrestling in the very near future, and the Slow Burn will be at both of them. All right. So with that said, let's get into some Dynamite, guys. I got a lot to talk about on Dynamite tonight, and I'm gonna try to go somewhat fast. I also want to recap some stuff of TNA. By the way, TNA next week we're going to be live again, so that's awesome. I wish I would actually be there live, but they're going to be live at Full Sail University. You NXT folks know what I'm talking about there. So yeah, super excited. We got a lot going on. So let's get to Dynamite, guys. Dynamite was a solid show. It was actually a very good show. The go home show, leading us into tomorrow night's Grand Slam event. My gosh, we got a lot of wrestling tomorrow. It's going to be, these next couple of days are freaking full up, right? So let's roll on into the weekend with some good stuff. But Dynamite started off with Max Caster, another Max Caster open. You just had a feeling that you were going to hear some cowboy shit, right? And Hangman accepts the open challenge, beats the hell out of Max. Max did the whole hiding in the crowd, chicken shit heel stuff. It was up and down. The match was good, but this whole open challenge thing for Max Caster right now is getting a little silly for me. This whole best wrestler alive, there, he's starting to catch on as a heel. He's starting to get a little bit of heat, but the real question is where are we going with this? And I'm not really sure. I like Max in the ring, and actually, I was a really big fan of Max and the character that he was presenting when he was with the Acclaimed. I just don't know. I don't know where this character is heading. The arrogant heel. Oh, excuse me. You see, I do this after work when I get home, and I am fucking exhausted, right? But we make it through. We make it through. But yeah, I just don't know where this character is going. I mean, is he going to be full on chicken shit? Is he going to eventually flip the script? I don't know. But these open challenges are not turning out too well for him, considering he's now 0-3. So yeah, maybe we're going to end up getting that Anthony Bowens accepting a challenge, and that'll generate a little bit more heat. But I just don't see where that's going at the moment. At the moment, however, that takes nothing away from a great show. Swerve and Prince Nana backstage, decent little segment. Nana asks Swerves to move on from Ricochet. Swerve's not ready to move on from Ricochet, and you also get the backstage segment with Ricochet wearing the Prince of Nana's royal robe and all that. That, you know what? I'm not done with this story yet. It's very solid. Two good segments. No contact tonight. No wrestling. But it's leading to something. It really is leading to something. And I think we're going to get some more out of this. And initially, I was kind of sour on this whole feud, but Ricochet's really getting heel. This are really getting heat as a heel here. So like this is really working for me, and I have a feeling that that this could progress. But I mean, hell, anything that Swerve touches is okay. And I'd like to think that maybe this story can keep progressing, but it does get a little iffy without a belt. And I don't know, Swerve was such a damn good champion, so I don't know, maybe we end up milking a belt into this at some point, but I know we're not close to that. So knowing how AEW usually does, the story will probably taper off. Let's hope not, because there is a lot of good possibility there, you know. So moving on, we had a trios title match, and guys, those trios titles. By the way, if you don't watch AEW, trios, it's six-man tag, right? But the trios title match between the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Pac in his street clothes, the bastard Pac in his street clothes, they're taking on the Undisputed Kingdom with Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and obviously Adam Cole, baby. And my God, it was a great match. It was a really, really good match. The Death Riders go over. I honestly, since these belts hadn't been defended in so long, I kind of thought that it might have been an opening for the Undisputed Kingdom. However, it kind of stayed traditional. Death Riders go over, leads to intrigue, right? The match was solid up and down. The one thing I want to say though is that Adam Cole looked very, very good, and I've been kind of down on Adam Cole as far as since his comeback has came, and I just didn't like how the MJF story stuff went. I like Adam Cole better as a heel. I've always said that. However, this looked good, and Adam Cole looked very good. The other thing was is after the match, you know, you had the run-in with the former Jericho Appreciation Society. I'm going to call them Daddy Magic's troops, right? So Daddy Magic's troops of Daddy Magic, Cool Hand, Angelo Parker, and obviously our champion, our TBS champion, Daniel Garcia. Yeah, they made the save. It was great. The match was great, but now what you're seeing here is three very solid trios teams. And there was more trio stuff built throughout this program as well. So yeah, maybe we're going to bulk up the trios division. And honestly, I think that needs to happen if they're going to continue to showcase those belts. If you're not going to showcase the belts, just get rid of the trios division and move on. Create factions, create tag teams, whatever you want to do. But just like AEW is growing that tag team division little by little, right? The trios division really has a chance to take off, and I think it can do better right now than the tag division because of who's holding the belts. I think the Death Riders make a really good trios team. You get a little bit of everything with those three. By the way, Claudio is on fire right now in the ring. He looks really good. He's not doing much wrong as far as in-ring technician stuff, but the other side of this is the tag team division is a little bit down because of the Hurt Syndicate stuff. I have been very clear about that. But we got a tiny little shift with that. And that's kind of what I was getting at with, and we'll get to it as far as that tag match, the tag team title match between the Hurt Syndicate and the Guns. But before we got to that, guys, we had a OPS intro. That's right. The Ops. Well, you're thinking to yourself, well, who the fuck are the Ops? Well, that's the new trio that just got named by Samoa Joe. And you guys know I love Samoa Joe. Joe, Joe. Um, Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Hook. I don't dislike this as a trio. The name's kind of stupid. I'm sorry. Joe, if you came up with that name, it's still a little off to me. I don't necessarily get it. Maybe that'll create more. Maybe we'll get some more out of that. But like I'm good with it. I'm good with the grouping. Now, what I put on my notes was now wow me. Right now, wow me. I will say that them and the patriarchy has a lot left with Christian and Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne. It's not really a fair matchup because you're dealing with the patriarchy against Monster and Joe, one of the baddest men on the planet, and Shibata and Hook, who, they're really building him up, and he hasn't failed a whole lot. So I'm not going to say anything negative about it. Plus, I love his damn father. Taz is one of my favorites of all time. So, yeah, I'm okay with this, but I will say one thing. Samoa Joe on the mic is always amazing. And the fact that he was able to call Christian a chicken ass last night or Wednesday night, and then it progresses to a chicken ass chant in the crowd. Okay, good. All right, you now wow me is all I got to say. I got your back. I'm here for it. I want it to happen. Now give me something with it, and it needs to happen post patriarchy. Like, no, don't make this group the Ops. Don't make this Ops group this one off. We're gonna fight the patriarchy, and then all of a sudden we're gonna ride off into the sunset and do our own thing. No, build the trios division. You have an opportunity to put Samoa Joe in there against Claudio Castagnoli down the road. Like, fuck yeah. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, build it up, build it up. And you know what? If they do it, I'm wonderfully happy. And I think we have a chance to do so. So, and plus, chicken ass, chicken ass, chicken ass. That's awesome. That is organic wrestling shit. By the way, that crowd was hot. All right, Austin, Texas crowd was very, very hot. And an interesting segment with the learning tree with Chris Jericho calling out Bandito. I mentioned last week that collision match between Bandito and Brian Keith, it got my runner up for match of the week. It was that good, and you guys know we had some good stuff last week, but what we had out of Jericho last night was calling Bandito out. He wanted to do another duel, right? We're gonna 10 paces and all that good shit. Well, they did it. It wasn't quite as great as when Brian Keith did it. It almost seemed a little bit stale. However, what happened after it really got me going here. You knew Bandito was going to get his ass kicked. You knew he was going to get jumped. But what you didn't know was who's going to make the save. Bandito has no relationships at this point in AEW, so like he's kind of flying solo, which is the idea of the character. I think that outlaw idea, but what you got was Powerhouse Hobbs and the Outrunners. You guys know, did I say the Outrunners or were they the Midnight Express? Were they the Outrunners or the Midnight Express? It don't fucking matter who they are. They're hot right now. Okay, they're hot. By the way, I want some Outrunners freaking wristbands or something. I need those. Actually, the glasses, they're better than the Eat glasses. No. but still, same concept. But yeah, like the Outrunners and Hobbs, that's kind of a weird matchup that or mashup, I should say, that I think could be really fun. Like I'm totally awesome with that. And what it's doing is it's also giving you another side to Powerhouse Hobbs. So what I need to see here in the next vignette of the Outrunners, you know how they show them working out and all that. We had all those clashes with them in the gym with FTR and all that. I need them in the gym with Powerhouse Hobbs right now. Like, give me that vignette. It is going to be absolute gold. Tony Khan, make it happen. Right? Make it happen. What else did we get? Cope and Switch. Oh my God. Like, I love this team up. Okay. I love this team up. Adam Copeland, aka Edge. They show him with Switchblade Jay White. You guys know I love Jay White. You know, I'm Bullet Club till I die. But what you saw here was a very, very interesting matchup. Whereas Jay White is almost looking at Edge as this mentor figure. And guys, they have a lot in common. Their styles are similar, their presentation is similar. Like, this is something I'm really okay with. The other thing I'm okay with is down the road, Jay White's going to turn on him and it's going to be fucking awesome. Right. And that's why I love me some Jay White. By the way, I'm going to say it again. Still, very few people in ring today as good as Jay White. There's a reason he was the hottest free agent in the world. Now AEW just got to keep building off of him because so far he hasn't had enough and he deserves so much more. But you see them, they basically shove Marina Shafir, that means Switchblade and Cope. They shove Marina Shafir in a locker room, keep the door shut, and then cut the briefcase off of her hand. Now, they didn't cut her hand. They bolt cuttered the chain that she'd been carrying around the briefcase that everybody assumes the AEW title is in. Then we get a nice little segment that says, "You want this back? We're gonna give you a chance to get it back at the end of the show." It was awesome. It was that whole piece really worked. That was good storytelling, and I don't say that all the time with AEW. I feel like sometimes the critiques are more, as far as the storylines, the critiques are more than the praise. But this story is starting to really come together with me, and guys. Honestly, we've been up and down on the Death Riders, but to be for real, adding Cope to this mix has kind of helped. It's almost added some realism to it, I guess, for me. And the other thing is like what we saw in the learning tree or the earlier episode with the trios match. You saw the Death Riders getting beat up some by the Undisputed Kingdom. Now you're seeing them kind of take a little bit on the chin here, getting the briefcase taken away. What's it going to lead to? Well, what it ended up leading to is we're going to get that match that we're saying that we're going to get at Revolution, where we're going to get Cope versus Mox. Now, is that where Jay White changes? I don't think so. I think they can stretch this a little bit longer. But overall, very, very good. The Cope switch thing, like I said, I'm all over it. Stealing the case was great. Such a good touch. Overall, this story's working. The story is working. Now, that brings me to another awesome story that I was so big on. That was MJF Dustin Rhodes. I said, and I was very adamant about it, that I wanted this story to stretch. I also said that after this story is over, you're probably going to get MJF Hangman Page. Um, well, number one, the MJF Dustin Rhodes match it's going to take a hell of a match to oversee that for match of the week. All right. So I don't care if you're AEW or not. Go back and watch MJF and Dustin Rhodes from Wednesday night because the match was outstanding. And Dustin Rhodes at 55 years old can still go the exact same way he did when he was freaking Goldust. It is unreal. Maybe not Goldust versus Roddy Piper in the parking lot brawl, right? You guys know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. But that match was outstanding. And then I kept saying how I wanted more. I wanted more. But you know what? The way it worked out with Hangman Page coming in to make the save, I'm okay with it. And the reason I'm okay with it is because that match was so damn good. I don't know if you can have another match like that. I really don't. I don't know. I think that it's almost the perfect segue to get to a longer story of MJF versus Hangman. Now, here's the thing that we need. Now, don't come out and say we're going to do Hangman versus MJF next week on Dynamite, and then they wrestle one time and the story's over. This is one that you can sink your teeth in. This is one that actually can get MJF and Hangman that push, that that huge push to get them back into the title picture. Like, it makes perfect sense. So I feel like we should really build off that. And I think they will. I think the possibilities are there. I'm okay if we don't even get Hangman and MJF at Revolution. I really am, and we'll get more to that later on. But I want to get through Grand Slam first. But yeah, not bad. What else did we have, guys? We had Megan Bain. She won a squash match. Harley Cameron had a beautiful segment backstage. Cannot wait to see Harley Cameron and Mercedes go Saturday night. We also had the tag match, the Hurt Syndicate over the Guns. And I mentioned that Hurt, they win. All right. But I will say the Guns looked really strong, and they got a lot of action in on Bobby Lashley. Shelton always kind of takes a little bit of the brunt. Lashley comes out looking really, really strong where he doesn't take a whole lot. That wasn't the case in this match. And I was very pleased with that. So if we can keep the matches more like that, and not like the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party, that's the only way that this tag run works. Okay. Now, with that said, what the most appealing part to me was at the end of the match. And that was the Murder Machines, Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, and the Machine Brian Cage, part of the Don Callis family. We see them waiting at the end of the ramp and applauding, giving it up for our tag team champions. Well, guys, I guess what? This matchup needs to happen. I don't need it to happen right now. I don't need it to happen next week. I don't need it to happen in 3 weeks. It needs to happen down the road where you're getting the Murder Monsters, two big, huge, meaty men versus the Hurt Syndicate. That to me is realistic. That to me is a fight. And that's what we want out of this. That's the only thing that can make this tag run credible for me for the Hurt Syndicate. And I'm sorry. I know that I'm the minority here. I know most people are really behind this. I just don't see it working. But there's a possibility. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Brian Cage and Lance Archer are the two greatest tag team guys that have ever existed. But what they are credible badasses, right? They're credible badasses that can really get in there and put it to the Hurt Syndicate. They don't even have to go over. They just need to have to beat the hell out of them. Right. So super excited for that. We ended up with a little bit of a dust up with Cope and the Death Riders and Jay White. Cope gets his thing back. We seen Spike again from Cope. If you know who Spike is, it's a 2x4 with all kinds of nails coming out the end of it, and it looks really, really deadly because it is. He puts that into the briefcase a couple times, and it was a really good way to end the show. I really did. And bigger than anything is we got the Cope versus Moxley at Revolution. So now we have our Revolution main event set. And guys, let's get through Saturday with Grand Slam, and we really start setting up Revolution. Okay, so overall, really, really good show. I graded this show a B, another solid B, and I was eerily close to getting it up to a B plus, but it had a little bit missing. I didn't get Kenny Omega, didn't get Will Ospreay, so obviously it had a little bit missing. But overall, great show and a perfect run up for this weekend's Grand Slam. Okay, that brings us to TNA. All right, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on TNA. I graded this show this week as a C plus. I don't know if it was because of the fact that it wasn't live and maybe the crowd wasn't as hot as what it was in the last couple weeks, which last week wasn't live either. But we're getting back to the live stuff next week, so I have a feeling we'll see another real big jump. But guys, C plus is not bad. Overall, though, the show, I enjoyed it. The opener was fantastic. They opened up with the freaking World Championship match, right? Joe Hendry goes over Jake something. The match was good. Joe Hendry makes people look really damn good. And if you're not seeing that, like, you need to open your eyes a little bit. He's so damn good in the ring. And the character work is fantastic, obviously. But we had Joe Hendry going over. Then we had the interruption by Ryan Nemeth, all right? Dolph's little brother. His brother, I'm digging the hell out of this, Ryan Nemeth. I'm probably the only guy in America that's loving this character, but it's fucking fantastic. But yeah, we had the little bit of a dust up. Accidentally at the end, Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph, kicks Santino in the head. Santino's the authority figure, like a GM. And yeah, we're setting up something huge. But what ended up getting set up that was kind of the biggest thing is that Nick Nemeth gets suspended for 4 weeks. So yeah, I'm not really sure how that's going to work and where we're going to go with it. But we're definitely not going to get a Joe Hendry Nick Nemeth rematch anytime soon. So we know that, but decent start. Decent start. The very next break, though, was probably the biggest news of the whole show, as TNA announced that on April 17th they're going to have a pay-per-view called Unbreakable. All right. Now you might be thinking, well, so what? They announced a pay-per-view, April 17th, big deal. Well, it just so happens it is a big deal because this pay-per-view is going to take place in Las Vegas, Nevada. And guess what? That's WrestleMania week. Okay. Guys, WrestleMania has become such a big thing, not just for the WWE, but professional wrestling. There'll be independent wrestling going on all over town in Vegas. Now you're going to get a TNA show. Obviously, you're getting Friday Night Smackdown. You're getting both nights of WrestleMania. You're going to get the NXT pay-per-view, Stand and Deliver. You're also going to get Monday Night Raw. Throw in the TNA stuff. Throw in the GCW stuff. Throw in the MLW stuff. Like, you just keep going on. And WrestleMania weekend is just going to be absolutely unreal. This stuff needs to come close to me somewhere so I can save money on hotels, right? Because everything else is going to cost me like maybe my marriage. So yeah, overall, though, that was a huge, huge announcement. Big time for TNA. What else do we have? Ash by Elegance squash match. The Leon Slater Hardy's interaction backstage, I really liked. My wife and I were watching this, and it was just like dudes talking and like really pumping each other up. And man, I really enjoyed that backstage segment. And you can really tell that the Hardys are working hard with Leon Slater, the young British kid, high flyer. Huge potential. So like I'm enjoying that. And guys, I'm loving this Hardy's run right now. If you're you're in Hardy's nostalgia need, start watching TNA, because the Hardy, it looks like them 15 years ago. It's unfreaking believable. They look fantastic, especially Jeff, right? What else do we get? Oh, I love the segment with Mustafa Ali. All right, I got exactly what I wanted. I said last week that I wanted John Skyler to be with Mustafa Ali. I needed that interaction to mean something. Well, it means something, right? Now the Good Hands, they're part of Mustafa Ali's cabinet, along with Tasha Steelz. And Tasha Steelz is fantastic. So, yeah, I'm so glad with this. We're going to get a chance to see John Skyler shine even more so. And I'm telling you, he's one of the best in the damn business. If you don't know who he is, you need to. So, yeah, a decent picture there. What else do we have? We had Cora Jade. She went over Zaya Brookside. Frankie Kazarian, Kaz, goes over Sammy Callahan. The Rascals, they call out Wes Lee and Tyson and the crew. That's going to end up being pretty big moving forward. I have a feeling we'll get some more of this moving forward on NXT as well. I know we're running out of time here. Masha, she defended her belt over Savannah Evans. I would have spent some more time on this, but I'm going to be honest. I didn't really enjoy the match. I didn't. And I love everything Masha does. And honestly, I've seen Savannah Evans 3 feet away from me at an American Legion Hall, or a community center. Like, I've seen her locally, and she does a fantastic job. But that match, something just wasn't clicking with me in that match. What else did we have? Oh, the big one. Josh Alexander wrestles his last match ever in TNA. He's a huge TNA guy, future TNA Hall of Famer. EY goes over thanks to the Northern Armory and a smoke to the face of EY's mask. And then Alexander is left laying in the ring, and that's how the show goes off. And I thought that was really freaking awesome. So yeah, that's it for Josh Alexander. Where's he headed? WWE? I think AEW, but we'll see. I want to see him in NXT, WWE, one of those. Actually, he doesn't need to be NXT. Send him straight to the main roster because he deserves it. Now, guys, running out of time here. SmackDown tonight. What do we got? We got some Elimination Chamber stuff. Naomi versus Chelsea. That's going to be awesome. But the big one's the triple threat men's. We got Damian Priest versus Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. So yeah, that's going to be so good. We also have a women's title match tonight, guys. Tiffy versus Nia. Title is on the line. So 3 very huge matches tonight. We're also going to get Cody Rhodes tonight, guys. SmackDown is great. Tomorrow night, we know we have Grand Slam AEW. We know we have NXT Vengeance Day. Next Level Championship Wrestling here in the CSRA. Huge weekend of wrestling. We'll do a slow burn Saturday short tomorrow as we pump up Grand Slam and Vengeance Day. I'll also recap SmackDown. Our Saturday short probably won't be short. Let's just call it what it is. So, but guys, lots going on. Huge weekend of wrestling. If you need something to do, you got something to do. But if you need something else, tune into the Slow Burn, because you guys know we'll be there for all of it. You know, the Slow Burn. We're here for it all. Guys, in this world, we're wrestling everything. So stay on top. Keep listening to the Slow Burn.